All right. Test. Test. What the hell is the matter with this thing? All right. What in the heck is going on out there in this Equinox energy? Lots of stuff happening. Lots of stuff going down. Lots of things being presented to us. Everywhere I look, I see it. In my own life and what I see out there on the news feed. And messages coming to me and people making comments. Just got to remember, this is a very personal journey, but not to take anything personal. We're all going through the same thing. I thought I'd jump on here today. I've had a schedule change. We're getting Soulogy going up again. Making a little progress every day. I think we're all getting going again. It seems like. What's happening? Mandy Genre, Kiora, Andrea Watson. Yeah, let's have a little chit chat. I don't have any answers. I think we all have information. We all have pieces of the puzzle. And we're all have pieces of the puzzle that we serve to connect with other people. That's what we've tried to do over the years with Soulogy. I think we've done a pretty good job of it. I don't mind saying that. I think we all of us ought to take a little pride in what we've done. You know, what we've achieved. We showed up and we're here. And yeah, we're going to have little, our big solar energies come in, or whatever the hell this energy is. I'm so tired of all the narratives. I'm just trying to focus on me and my world, which is your world, and being present in it. Stop trying to figure all this shift out. You know, every one of these narratives that I run into pretty much always has a bad guy. Well, there is no bad guy. We're the good guys and the bad guys. The only place that good guys and bad guys apply are in the realm itself, the illusion itself. So I've got two things that I felt like covering today. It's good to see everybody. Tommy Davidson, Susan Clegg, Giaccone. Tommy says, I went to bed last night feeling real good. I woke up this morning feeling horrible, so I haven't done anything today, just resting and hoping to feel good again. I know a lot of people that are doing that. You know, a lot of people woke up today or through the night and got hit with something. And every day we find out that we're all kind of going through the same thing. I've had people projecting on me the last 2-3 days, and it's not from victim consciousness that I mention this. It's because I can see things for what they are. And whether it's me acting out or projecting, or somebody acting out or projecting towards me from my own perception, there's only one place to go with it, and that's compassion. Because each and every one of us showed up. And that includes all the bad actors. Hey, Japan, what's up? Greg Sullivan. Much love to you. Laurel Gale. Jana Kozar, enjoying her kids. Yeah, you know, we know there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I got 2 messages this morning. I don't normally get them that loud when I wake up. Hung the Gwynn's in the house. Robert Saxon, Mount Shasta. The 2 things I have on my mind today are value, number 1. That's the first one. And the second one is multi-dimensionality. And when it comes to value, you know, as we work our way through this as an experiencer and an observer, we get to see a lot of projection. We get to see superiority. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we are it. Sometimes we don't see that we're it, and sometimes we don't see that's what we're looking at. But these comparisons and the competition and having to be right, you know, bottom line is that's not unity consciousness. That's not us tapping into our multi-dimensionality. Let me start there. We're all trying to find our way. That's what we signed up for. To find a higher truth, not to be the one that was right, not to be the one that said, I told you so. But really, to start taking some stock into the distance that we've covered to this place. And I'm not just talking about this life, although this life was warranted that. I'm talking about the whole kit and caboodle, this whole Earth project. It seems like the higher we go, the higher the truth is. We discover new things from a new vantage point. That's not rocket science. That's not Todd's idea. That's just a fact. You get to a higher vantage point, and you can see things that you couldn't see before. One of those things is our unconscious programming, our unconscious projection, our unconscious superiority, our unconscious have to be right. And what does that all equate to? Victim consciousness. We know the programs are victim consciousness and death and fear. And we want to externalize those things because we don't want to see ourselves as being susceptible to them, and we want to point out how everybody else is. It's kind of like, I've said over the years, people saying, hey, those people aren't woke up yet. That's a statement of superiority. Or these people don't know the real narrative. They don't know that it was Tiamat that blew up and the Anunnaki came down and seeded humans and whatever these narratives are. These were just the story. Just like the stories that used to have a hold of us that don't have a hold of us anymore. We've dealt with the past. Victim consciousness has many faces. And one of those faces is comparison, competition, having to be right. If somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, that means there's victim consciousness in the air. And we've reached a ground where it's an all or nothing proposition. So the blame and the shame and the guilt and the externalization, all of that's finger pointing's all gone away. It's been going away, and we keep working at it. But we find out more about ourselves. We find out that, this whole journey is about the universal through the fractals that we are, through the singularity that we are, finding a greater love for itself in its awareness, but more than that, in the actions, thoughts, words, and actions that we take as a result of that awareness, and the ability to say that we were wrong, and the ability to humble ourselves. There's a lot of humble pie being served out there, and if you haven't been eating any, you might want to take a look in the mirror. And I'm not saying this from a superior standpoint. I'm saying this from your brother who goes through the same things that everybody else does. A lot of people don't think I do, because I would come out every day and 3 or 4 times a day and, Soulogy this and Soulogy that. We're all going through the same thing. Every single one of us in our own way. We just all look different on the surface. So, this whole series of incarnations, this whole lineage of the soul, this whole lineage of the human being has to do with raising and expanding the only thing that there is. And it's not some cliche or some new age bullshit. Love is love. Unconditional love is unconditional love. And we've all found it when we thought we wouldn't, just as much as we go look for it and expect it and not find it. It's a free-flowing thing, and this is who we are. And, people have been talking about value off and on over the years. That's another way to look at our own, self-image, or our own, or to kind of measure our love for ourselves. What's our value? We've been so unconscious and so naive, and so many of us overgivers in many cases, in some cases overtakers and not even knowing it. But value is a big deal. I woke up with this morning and put up a little post, and because I realized I heard this voice, and I don't hear that voice too often, and it said, it's time to get to work. It's time to get off the pity pots. It's time to get off of these frequencies of superiority and, these narratives of ascension. And I'm not saying that any of this is or isn't true. What I'm saying is that to be present is where all of our power is, and all of our grace and all of our wisdom and all of our love. So what is this value thing? As it was being told to me this morning, we spend so much time, and we don't think it's victim consciousness, thinking this person didn't give me my value. This person didn't treat me right. This person didn't respect me. This person, you know, bullshitted me or whatever the case is. And what I heard this morning was, don't even look at that. If you observe that that's happening to you, then look where you haven't given value. It's not so much what we're getting, but what are we giving? And when someone or something gives something to us, are we giving back equally? Or are we just rationalizing it or substantiating things with our own bullshit? We're all fair game and we're all here. We all came here and we all showed up to find the higher answers, to keep on moving, to work together, co-create and collaborate, and not to take shots at each other. But when we see people taking shots, or we happen to do it, or whatever the case is, we're moving quicker and quicker into processing and transforming the energy, which is now equating to the physical transformation of the body. I gave birth to an Anunnaki implant 2 days ago. That was just as much a part of me as Todd Medina is. We can't understand all this stuff, but what we can do is stick to the basic tenets of universal law, you might call it. And a big part of that is value. This energy in its perfect design runs off equal energy exchange. What we've been given or afforded the opportunity is to utilize that sacred, unique, original equation and start to create in a physical matter in harmony and in symmetry, and in synergy with each other. And instead of looking for who's giving me value for what I do, where am I giving people value for what they do? I don't like to get too complex. I think things are pretty simple. It's an infinite, beautiful simplicity that we can operate by instead of this finite mind of the human only standalone that has a complicated existence and that has complicated our existence for a long, long time. We are equally carrying the lineage of the soul from the beginning of time, right? Time immemorial, right? But we're also carrying the lineage of the human being, this grand experience, this grand experiment. And coming to a state of awareness where the collective energy is working with us now to realize things faster. There are certain things that allow us to align quicker. There's no right or wrong. There's no judgment here. But there's certain things that work, like grace and like value, self-value. Everything's self first, right? When we find that self-love, that same level of love is then extrapolated to those around us and into the collective field. I'm not saying anything that people haven't said before. I'm just saying that it looks like the burners on the stove are being turned up and everybody's feet are being put to the fire. And humble pie is the most delicious meal we could have right now. And to maybe give ourselves some credit, we've come so far. Even if we just look at the years that we've known each other. Some of us are a month, a year, 10 years, 12 years. But think about where we were and think about where we are. We may look at the paradoxical nature of the universe where everything that's down is up and everything that's, big is small and small is big. We are center stage in the universal play. And there's still a lot of, I don't say a lot in terms of, in proportion to where we've come from, but we are blasting out the most hardened, concentrated traumas and experiences and ancestral lineage curses and whatever you want to call this stuff, energy that's been suppressed and allowed to take on a physical form and create blockages in our system. We're busting this stuff out now. And I still say one of the best ways to do that is to pull up the individuals or the things that bother you the most and look them in the eye, in the third eye, in meditation or when you're relaxing, and do everything you can to see yourself in that reflection. Because we truly are all the same. And this is, one of the great gifts of this journey is to be able to live in a distorted polarity that has been running amok, and be able to get to a place without bullshit and actually say, I am you, you are me. Whether you're talking about the most revered, Gandhi, or you're talking about Hitler, this is the reality of it. We're souls. We have a multi-dimensional perspective that has been dominated by our human perception and still is, but it's feathering out. And we're still going to have, little moments where we get charged or whatever the case is. It's so important to have, as quick as we can, compassion for ourselves. And when we do that, we're going to have it for other people. Ho'oponopono, whatever that thing is called, saying that to ourselves. What a wonderful thing that is, the vibration of it. And that's what happens. We change our perspective. We change our thinking. We change our energy in our personal field. The only piece of real estate that we own in this universe, or that we can claim, it's not outside of ourselves. And when we do that, the external matches us. I see some things that have happened to me over the last 2 or 3 months even, and, things that I didn't take a personal affront to, that I just looked at it, thank my soul. And again, I'm not the only person this is happening to. As the individual goes, so goes the collective. But I look at these things and say, okay, it came back, or this loop or this pattern came back. There's something in me, truly something in me, that I haven't seen or I don't want to look at. And we know these things, but our souls are taking away the options. They're taking away the doors that we can open and go look in, and it's just being left with ourselves. Whether we have a partner like me, whether you live with your mom like me, whether you interact with nobody or a bunch of people every day. These are all you. Every bit of this is you, and everything that happens to us is literally happening to us. And this is so important right now because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that the things that are presenting themselves to us, to use a better phrase, are things that we've seen before with just a different face, right? But yeah, it's a bit painful sometimes. I don't get on Facebook too much. I have been on the last couple of days. And to see some of the projections and to receive some of the projections. I actually had somebody take a post I put up today, put it on their post, and without naming me, just went at me. Went at me. That's no else to put it, saying this guy thinks he's spiritual, whatever, My point is, and I asked that person, why don't you come on the show and let's talk about it? Not to dress him down, not to prove anything, but to actually have an open discussion and investigate not the things that are said on the surface, but the things that are beneath it. This is where we've come to. It's not these superficial things, right? It's the things beneath the surface, the things that create the urge to do something or think something or say something. And we're all guilty of it. And guilty is not a great word. We've all done it. This is part of the human experience, this naivete that we've had, this unconsciousness that we've had. It's all part of this game. But we're on the other side of this thing now. And belief and trust are two of the main go-tos, if not the two only go-tos. Because it's just like the placebo thing. Any of these studies they've done over the years and the placebo effect, it works, right? It works when you believe something, it works. Affirmations are great. Whatever it takes to get there. I pull up people that make me uncomfortable, and I have a routine, and I've done it for years, and I pull them up every day until I can get to a certain point of balance. It doesn't mean that I'm finished. That's another thing too. This stuff about I cleared this and I cleared that, and I know this and I know that. We don't know shit. Okay, let's just get through it. We don't know it because we've only accessed a very small part of our multidimensionality. And although the human being is on point in this series of incarnations, we still have to understand and give credence to the rest of it. We talk about embodying, we talk about walking the talk, and that's really, I think, where we've come to now. I really do. We've come to a point now where the universe is saying, enough talking, show me, right? Show me. Show yourself. And by showing ourselves, we show each other. We're reflections. We think of mirrors, and we think of mirrors, in so many cases. We always think of the downside, right? This is the way we've been conditioned to think of the downside. Oh, when I see this mirror, when you see that and they piss you off, blah, blah, blah. But what about the good things? What about the great things? What about the initiatives that we've taken? What about the things that we've created? What about the efforts that we've made from a pure heart, no matter what the results were? So many people have come on the show over the years, and that have been tapped into the multidimensionality, different aspects of us, different aspects of the you, me, we, and it. And one of the things that they always say is, Franco said it, this is the toughest playground that we've ever encountered. And there was a time for all of us, and some very recently, there have been many times where we wanted to get the hell out of here. But not anymore. Not anymore. We came to see this happen. We don't even know what's going to happen. People can say they know what's going to happen. We have no idea. We could be hit by a comet tomorrow and be out of our physical mortal body and into our light bodies having a big after party. We could have a giant flood. We could have so many different things. And again, this is just a story. This is the part that's finite. This is the part that this is our movie. This is our play. There's something on the other side of this that's coming through. And I think one of the places we can look is through the physical transformation that we are having. I'm 62 years old. Okay. I had a chronic back problem related to a particular type of condition from the age of 30 to 42, and really lasted up until 50. I haven't been able to touch my toes since I was 37. But between 50, once I turned 50 and started doing a lot more exercise, my back started to rehabilitate. This is an area that I had 20% atrophy, which means that I shouldn't be able to get it back. 3 or 4 days ago, after weeks of sessions with my wife, and they kind of culminated into the last 2-3 sessions we did, and we came out and did a video on it. And I had something I can't exactly explain. I can tell you that I lived it. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, bar none. 2 hours and 27 minutes of some kind of excruciating something, And at the end of it, and I say this with great reverence, this Anunnaki aspect, or I don't know what it was, came out of me, and I had a simultaneous birth of my new soul and this aspect of this Anunnaki. The interesting thing is that it was ready to leave. All energies that have participated in this want to go back to where their home is. Like begets like. But the reason I bring that up is because I've had extraordinary, what I would consider substantial transformations in my body, evidence of transformation in my body. But I'd have to say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, after the last 3 days, that I've actually can tell you that it's real. You could say my chakra channels, and again, I'm not the only one. This is happening. If you're in earshot of this, I'm sure it's happening for you. It just doesn't, it looks different for all of us. We've been so used to comparing and competing and superiority and inferiority, we just don't give ourselves enough credit, but we're going to do that now. We're going to do that from now on, because I'm here today to tell you Soulogy's back, and we're coming back, and we're going to come back with a new energy, with this new energy that we've all landed in 2024. But this isn't about Soulogy. This is about all of us. And what my message today is to own this multi-dimensionality, to own it. It's not enough to talk about it anymore. It's not enough to talk about who you can channel and what you can do and what you know and what I know. I'm putting myself right there with you. We show up like the humble pie that we eat every day. We bring everything that we have to the table. And just because you don't have something that I have doesn't mean I'm not going to share it with you. There is no ownership in this universe. There is no possession in this universe. And the only reason that all this stuff is applied on this earth is because that's the way it was set up through our brilliant and grand design. Now, we've been complaining about this situation for a long time without owning the fact that we actually created it and we volunteered to come here. We just haven't remembered. And now we're starting to remember. And the physical transformation, the physical instantaneous healing is occurring. We're starting to have physical synchronicities and physical evidence of this transformation. And it's my goal to take it to the mainstream. And I don't mean mainstream media. I just mean the main energetic field. And I feel like it's already in there because of many, many people all over this world that have congregated and congealed all over this world in different ways, both in physical presence and in the virtual world. And we're doing it. We're doing it. We've been doing it. Multidimensionality embodied has never taken on a course like this. In, again, the words of some of the people that come on the show, including Franco, that this is the toughest school we ever put together. Oh, we can talk about spaceships and we can talk about ETs as if we're not one, okay? We can talk about secret space program. We can talk about the Jesuits and the Vatican. We can talk about the bullshit and the atrocities and the horrific stuff going on. But we're either in victim consciousness or we're not. And if we think somebody else is being victimized, then we're in victim consciousness. And obviously, if we think we're being victimized, then we're in victim consciousness. Now, how do you handle that? How do we handle that? We handled it one step at a time. We handle it one step at a time. And as my soul told me 12 years ago when this all started for me, and we've all been there, we get information and we're like, what do we do with this? And I don't know about you, but I always get the same answer unless it's specific instructions to go do a festival or do something. But it's I was always told, whatever you do, don't do what's been done before. And I feel like that's what we're doing. We've tried everything else. We put our faith in and given our power to everything else, relationships, governments, religions, a whole kit and caboodle. And to include narratives, by the way. I can say this right now. I don't have any problem at all saying it. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just saying I'm wide open to everything I don't know. And that includes, and because of that excludes me from following any doctrine or any narrative. And I don't care if it's the law of one, Lisa Renee, and no shade on anybody or anything. I'm just trying to say everything that we know, everything that we've shared is a composite of our energy. And what comes from the new, where's the new code? It comes from the collaboration and the co-creation that we involve ourselves with, and the initiation of action, inspired action, the congruence and alignment of words and thoughts and actions. Telepathy is running rampant. These are not just fantastic stories now. You know what I mean? These things that started to be talked about and they got kind of resurrected in the 90s with the New Age. And don't think for one second that the CIA didn't have something to do with that New Age movement. It doesn't mean that there's all bullshit in there, just like these platforms on YouTube and Facebook. Just because they say light worker doesn't mean that it's 100% gospel. We have got everything that we need within us. We know that we've reached a point now where self-empowerment is the key for the day. And from this point forward, You can see this in the lives of many practitioners that have come on the show from 2019, 2020. They started shifting the stories that they were telling us, the way the people were coming in the door, what was happening to them, the number of people that were coming in the door, the type of people that were coming into the door. You know, all I'm trying to say is that, and I love that site too, Ascension Glossary. There's so many good information out there. All I'm trying to say is that I'm not going to pledge allegiance to anything but me. I am soul. That's all I have, and that's all I need. And that's who we are, and what we're a part of. A collective soul. You know, a body in itself. A body within a body within a body, you know? So, I mean, multi-dimensionality. Either we are or we're not. And if we are, let's act like it. Does that mean our days are going to go perfect every single day? No. Does that mean we're going to get knocked on our ass now and then? Yes, we're still going to get knocked on our ass. But let's give ourselves some credit. Let's own it. You know, let's own it, live it, love it. This is who we are. And the stories that got us to this point of awareness have as much value as the traumas that we transmuted and transformed from, the shadows that we made gold from. And if we can do that, then we can find the gold in the reflections of our lives. We can find it in our friends and our family and our loved ones and strangers and people that don't like us and institutions and this and that and the other thing. It's all the same thing. And this is, to me, at this point, what the greatest opportunity is for growth. Because anyone that thinks we're going to have an ED at the end of this, you know, I fixed that, I achieved that, you know, it's got an ing on it. We are ascending, we're not ascended, right? We are always moving to a higher level of alignment. The universe is always moving. It never stops. We had stagnation by design in this realm that we're figuring out. You know, we had the gift of COVID and vaccines and mandates in 2020, 21, and 22 that opened up a whole can of worms. And it didn't matter if there was a certain group that was behind it on the surface of the earth that was intending to create harm and disharmony and so on. It doesn't matter, because the universe, the universal God, the universal goddess, whatever you want to call it, it's bigger than all of us. And look how many people have been awakened in this world as a result of that. And we're riding the wave of that now in perfect symmetry. Look, we're coming to an eclipse here in 3 hours. Not eclipse, an equinox. Then we have Easter. And then we have this eclipse. You know, does it mean this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or this is going to happen, or that narrative's going to apply? Maybe it does, and maybe I'm stupid. But how many times have I seen people write about the 3 days of darkness in the last 12 years? Oh, it's right around the corner. This is when it happened. Or the big solar flash. This is going to happen. You know, or so many other things. Right? It's not about that. These are all synchronicities telling us what's happening. We have an innate sensitivity to it. We don't have to get real complicated about it. You know, we just have to understand. We don't have to do anything. I really don't like using that word, or need, but it doesn't matter what it all is or what it all isn't. Are we present with ourselves? How are we feeling? How is our body communicating to us? What is it telling us? Am I in self-judgment? You know, I ingest things in my body that some people don't. But I know this from my soul, that what I ingest, it's not the physical part of it that is the predominant energy. It is the energy of my thoughts and my relationship with that which I engage in, whether it be a person, a hamburger, or a cigarette. It doesn't matter. We are gods and goddesses. Truly, we are the children. We are the golden children. This is not some preacher, you know. This is the truth. It's time to own our multidimensionality and get off the pity pot. I'm sorry. Get off the victim consciousness. I'm sorry. And I know it's not easy, and I know I can be harsh sometimes, but the bottom line is this is all heart speaking. We came here to get to the point that we're at, and we are on the cusp of it. We're here. We're in the thick of it. The only thing holding us back is our belief and our trust. Some call it faith. I call it faith, the transitive verb, to believe and trust. It's time. Leaders will fall. And not just leaders in the old world, the presidents and the popes and the pimps, but all the leaders in this community, including me if I'm a leader, right? We're all leaders. Every single one of us is a leader, and every single one of us is a follower. There is no one at the head of the table. We sit at the round table where everybody is equal, just like in the monads. Our souls have fought long and hard. Our energetic star families, whatever you want to call it, our monads, they're just as worn out and tired as we are. They never gave up. We never gave up. We're all one and the same thing. We got to be careful. It's a fine line. It's a real fine line. Victim consciousness. And just because we call ourselves light workers or star seeds or whatever you want to call it, doesn't mean that we are immune to what we observe in the world as a whole. Because as long as we're observing it, it's got to be active. If it's active in me, it's active in the world. We have an opportunity to try something new with each and every interaction and each and every new creation or initiative that we take. Value. So much of the time when we look for respect and we look for honor and we look for recognition or acknowledgement, we look from a standpoint of what we're receiving. But what are we giving? What are we giving? And in this apparatus of social media, which we act like all the information that comes out on it is true. It's selective, what we call true and what we don't. And now you got AI out there. Oh my God, AI, it's going to take over the... Bullshit. Everything is of the God and Goddess substance. It's all energy. It will work with us just like anything else. And the great thing about what we're doing here is we get to work with each other. We don't have to put up these walls anymore and say, I'm doing this to protect myself. We can actually say, you know what? I'm whole within myself. I'm the same thing as you. Let's meet in the middle. And you put your best intentions out and you go for it and you do it. And you let go of any expectations or any appraisal system of whether it was successful or whether that person figured the shit out. You know what I mean? And then therefore they are going to walk on water like me. Humble pie is being served. And it's being served in very large pieces. And we can eat as much of it as we want. It's a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. It's self-empowering to admit things, to open up to a point and say, or to even consider a point. We're dealing with so many things, patterns, past behavioral patterns, the programs that were put into rest where they still have the echoes and the ripples running out there. Value. I can look right now in this moment, I can look at my wife, I can look at my mother, I can look at my children, I can look at so many different people, I can look at so many of you, and I try to be in deep gratitude. It's part of my day. It's how I start my day, most every day, laying in bed, saying what I'm grateful for and affirmations and meaning it. It helps me since I started doing that a couple years ago. But I can look at these these mirrors in my life, these reflections, and I know that I can acknowledge and honor and respect and and recognize and inform them of the value that they have in my life. And that's worth more than all the money in the world. It really is. For the person that steps into it and for the person that receives it, because it becomes like a super ball. It starts bouncing back and forth. We're contagious. COVID-19 ain't got shit on us, okay? We are the real epidemic, you know? We are the real virus. You know, soul is contagious, you know, and that's a beautiful thing because, you know, there's so many ways to look at this. You know, my world has been Soulogy, you know, in many ways. My purpose, and over the years, and it's been, you know, I got the best seat in the universe. I'm able to learn from people, you know, on the talk show. I'm able to sit down with musicians and artists and people like Ty and learn the nonverbal languages of the universe in physical form, which I believe we'll see more and more and more of. Man, we've come so far. And there are people going through stuff every single day. We're all going through stuff. That's not to make light of anything. I've lost. There are at least 3 people I know that have transitioned in the last week. And we know that there's been a lot of people transitioning. We can connect to these people. You know, a friend of mine passed 3 or 4 days ago, and I started to go into the, you know, what is this kind of thing? And then I just said, oh, can I tap into you? And boom, there he was, just laughing, playing his guitar. You know, man, this is huge what we're doing. It's really huge. And it's not too much to ask of the universe for us to walk the talk. And it's not going to put us in a perpetual hell if we don't do it. It's saying you've earned this opportunity. You agreed to give it a shot and come down here. You set it up to where, you know, we tricked ourselves. And who better to fool you than you? So you have the opportunity. I have the opportunity. The universe is saying you have the opportunity to do something that the universe is saying, I don't even know what you're going to be able to do with it. That's the whole point. The whole point is to take everything that we came into this party with, combine it with what we've experienced to this day, combine the two in an equilibrium in a 0-point field and create something new. That's what the universe does. That's what pure love does. That's what the power of a sacred marriage within does. That's another grand experiment of this experience is having a physical counterpart where we can have sacred union, Vesica Pisces, in form to create majestic physical creations, you know, to materialize things in a way that it's never been done before. And it doesn't even matter if it's never been done before, but it's something new for us now. It's something that, you know, again, we've already tried everything else. Let's try ourselves. And I believe that's what we've been doing all these years. And sometimes, you know how it goes, you know, things start to get a bit tough and grinding. And we know this, especially certainly this year. The number of surges that we've had, the number of times we've been knocked on our ass, the number of times we've gone into doubt, the number of times that we've, you know, projected, gone into victim consciousness or had periods where things come up from the past and we thought we were done with it. What have we found out? We found out that we get to the other side and we get a huge lift. And that's a beautiful thing. So I just came on today just to had a little schedule change. And I thought, because I woke up this morning and I knew, I really did, even though I told myself this for 2 months, got to get back to work, got to get back to work. Well, there is no work. This is not work. This is what my soul does in this incarnation. This is my part of it. My part of it is to help people come together, meet each other, get inspired, bare their soul. But I woke up this morning and I heard value. Value those things that are offered and given to you, and the value that you offer will take care of itself. So what does that mean? That means to be grateful for everything that I encounter, every person that collaborates, every person that co-creates, every person that offers, whatever they offer, the value that they offer, and to carry that with me and to reflect it and do my best without judgment of them, without judgment of me, just to put my best foot forward and do my best. I don't need any more narratives. I don't need to hear about this, that, and the other thing. I don't need, and I probably will get some more just like we all do. I don't need to know about any more of my past lives. I don't need to know any more about the galactic wars. I don't need to know any more about any of that stuff. I'm Todd Medina. I'm a soul that happens to be in a body called Todd Medina this time around that's involved with something called Soulogy. And, I don't know how much time I have or we have. I imagine we'll all probably go out the door pretty much at the same time. So let's raise some hell like only the light can while the sun is still shining. I think we also have to really, give some credit and due to all that we carried with us. And again, like Franco used to talk about, there's a soul lineage and there's a human lineage. That soul lineage goes back billions of years, billions of lives. The human lineage is a specific experience that in this process, which was the soul's plan, in this human lineage, picking up all this stuff, tied to all the ancestral stuff, we are bringing this stuff into alignment. We have been doing this for quite some time, and we will continue to do it. It's incumbent upon us that if we are going to have the authority that comes with our God-given abilities that have been given with us as we were birthed from Mother Goddess, that accountability goes with it. If we can learn anything from this realm, if you talk about fallen angels and the Watchers, and that's only the last 6,000 to 12,000 years. This same stuff was going on before that. What do you think Atlantis was about? What do you think that was about? What do you think about the galactic wars? Because it was just an extension of that when it came here. It was fractals of the Universal Mother Father in form being given the opportunity to get to the point of the qualities that are reflected in the terms made in the image of. And then what happened? What happened? We got full of ourselves. So what? That was the big trick. Now we know better. Now we know that we can align our free will with universal will from pure intention and unconditional love. Because that's who we are. It's not hard to do. It's not hard to do. Does it fit in the world that we're coming from? No. Are you going to get credit from the world we're coming from? No. But do you know your truth? Do I know my truth, and does the universe know our truth? Abso-fucking-lutely it does. Absolutely. You better believe it. It never hurts to take a look under the hood and see what we got there. It never hurts to take a look at an antagonistic point of view, an opposite point of view, because I don't see how anyone or anything, including the universe, including Mother Goddess, when she split herself in half and created Father God, if you want to use that metaphor, you have to be open. You have to be open to it all. And part of being open is not knowing, not having to know. I mean, this stuff that's happening to us now, it's been so subtle and so deep, especially after we've peeled back layer after layer after layer after layer after layer. And then we come to a point where we find a new epiphany. And these epiphanies that we're finding out, these revelations that we're having, are about ourselves. They're about our past behavior. They're about our prejudices and biases and our superiority that we didn't want to admit. I just want to put this out there right now, everyone. First of all, let me just say again, while I have the opportunity, and as Soulogy's on the verge of making what I would say is its third run, its third leg, and everything happens in threes, or as my grandmother used to say, everything happens in trees, with her broken English. But what I would like to say is thank you. Thank each and every one of you. Because this is a giant vortex. It's a place, it's bigger than a platform. It's an energetic vortex. And I've seen many, many great things come out of it. Things that you don't get paid for, things that you don't get recognition for, but things that make my heart just sing. Couples that come together, friends that come together, groups that come together, shows that get launched, and so on and so on and so on. And we do this, all of us do this. All of us have a certain trajectory towards our life purposes that are becoming more and more clear every day. But I just want to thank everybody for the love and the support and the contributions over the years. I will tell you that on the surface, Soulogy has never been in worse financial shape, but we're in good shape. Franco left this world with a tremendous amount of financial debt. And those programs are over. The abundance is being reciprocated. It has nothing to do with how many views or how many this or how many that. It has to do with the intention of our energy from the point that we are expressing. And that's really it. It has to do with an open heart. And there's a lot of qualities involved with that: courage, bravery. But we're coming back. We're going to just take it one day at a time. And so, I wanted to thank everybody for that. But also, just for you, just join me for a second. Just take a moment, just a quiet moment, in regard to this equinox, which is in exactly 2 hours and 7 minutes. So if you'll join me, I would be grateful. As we all gather in the universal circle of life on this timely equinox, as the seasons begin to change again, and we place the entirety of our collective soul in this center of this universal circle of life, as we both stand in the circle and are present in the center, both our human and our soul, and this earth, and everything connected to it, because it's much bigger than that, solar system, galaxy, etc. That may we be shown the things that we can't see, the unconscious programs and patterns and behaviors. May we have compassion for ourselves and for others without judgment. And may we align our free will with universal will from our purely intended intentions of our heart, an open heart. And may everything that we do in collaboration, co-creation, and on an individual basis be for the highest and best good in all regards, no matter what. I'll see you next time, and thank you so much. Endless gratitude, love, honor, respect, and reverence. All blessings to you and yours. Peace out.